Hello everyone, this is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video, and in this video, I'm going to be playing some AI Dungeon 2. Shout out to King of Craxels for supporting this video. He paid $14 to make this video a reality, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'm going to start up the 2-hour timer for today's episode. I'm going to double check to make sure that I've already started recording, and I'm going to jump right into the adventure. You are a divine spirit inhabiting and controlling a human-shaped storm cloud. You are a high school student who doesn't remember a lot about your past. You live in a one-bedroom apartment with your roommate Ofda in Celled City. Ofda is your friend, who is a sentient shape-shifting weapon. Celled City is a city where magic and modern technology coexist. You go to Celled City School of Magic and Technology. One of your classmates decided to throw a party at their mansion, so you decided to go with Ofda and your girlfriend, Lucy. Lucy has the power to manipulate and summon portals. Lucy enjoys fighting with friends for fun, partying, and traveling the multiverse. Lucy, using her portal abilities, transported you and her to Vic Victoria Sirens' room so that you three could make out with each other. Vic is a siren, a fellow classmate, and one of your friends. Vic cares very little for human affection and is a skilled warrior. Right as you, Vic, and Lucy are about to make out, the wall of Vic's bedroom explodes and Joachim Plus appears. Joachim is a god that you killed earlier this week in order to stop his cultists from destroying Celled City, that has been revived and empowered by Vic's boyfriend, Randy. Randy, out of jealous spite, resurrected Joachim, reinforced Joachim's body with the hardest materials in the world, and granted Joachim cybernetics that allow him to deflect ranged attacks and manipulate energy. You greedy bastard! You took my girl when you already had your own. Now all three of you are going to die at the hands of the unbeatable Joachim Plus, boasts the crazed and enraged Randy. Joachim lunges forward and grabs you by the face. Look at how ugly he is. Must be an S-rank meal, Joachim says in excitement as he begins to squeeze your face. Your eyes begin to feel like they're popping out of your head. And now, let's jump into the adventure. Can I defeat Joachim and Randy? Let's find out. You think to yourself, Joachim can only grab my face because I am currently solidifying my body. But I am a storm cloud after all. If I shift from being a solid to being a gas, then I can surround Joachim's body and use my winter storm powers to flash freeze him. Joachim's exterior may be made out of the hardest materials in the world, but his blood is likely liquid like everyone else's. If I flash freeze his body, then that should freeze his blood as well. Once his blood is frozen, his heart will stop beating, and blood will no longer be able to make it to the brain. In other words, I can kill him and escape his grasp with a single attack. Okay. So, my first action is just me thinking about a plan of action. A way to try and get out of this situation and take down Joachim. Let's see. You think these thoughts and then act upon them in the next moment. You turn from a solid to a gas and surround Joachim's body in a winter storm. And then I'm going to yell, Flash freeze. Heartstopper. Oh, my heart is freezing. Joachim yells in pain and begins to rapidly shake as his heart, brain, and blood begins to freeze. Let's see. I'm just gonna hit enter. Let the story continue. Because I don't really think he has a real defense against that. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't have a defense against that. Ah, this isn't fair. This isn't how it was supposed to be, Randy complains as he tries to get out from under the door. Wait, what? Why would he try to get out from under the door? Just say as he tries to escape. He's not like a dog or like a small animal. Let's see. Joachim falls to the floor, completely frozen. His hard exterior froze so quickly that it shattered and cracked. Yeah, even the hardest materials when like flash frozen, especially to like something like absolute zero, probably becomes brittle pretty quickly. Let's see. You confront Randy and say, "Stop right there." It's all over now, Randy. I'm a high-ranking government official, and Ofda is a powerful spirit. What? No, I'm in like high school. I'm a high-ranking government official. Okay, so I just hit retry. Okay, wait, what? What? Okay, so this is Randy talking in this statement. I know I'm going to hell for this, but I don't care anymore. I know that you and Lucy had a thing going on, and Vic doesn't love me like how I love him. Oh wait, he's dead. I'm gonna change it from him to her because Vic is a girl. And change it from he's dead to she's dead. You turn around to check and see if Vic is actually dead. Your mind races as you wonder if Randy somehow killed Vic while you were busy fighting Joachim. Did you really kill her? You demand an answer from Randy. Gosh, it didn't just let me turn around. I have to like yell a thing to Randy. She's dead. I swear it, he says with tears in his eyes. Oh, I guess he's sad. She's dead. I swear it. How? I saw you both get hit by Joachim, but you're alive and she's dead, you say in tears as well. Well, no. I wouldn't say all that, maybe. I would probably say, how? Like, maybe just how? How on earth did you kill her so quickly? It only took me a moment to defeat Joachim. I didn't even see you move. Let's just say it involved another deadly attack from behind. You think you know what he's implying. Randy had a knife in his hand the entire time. I mean, I didn't see him move. Yeah, like the concept of him having a knife is like, yeah, but how did he kill him though? Okay, so I think I might have an idea. You think to yourself, Randy clearly is powerful, considering he was able to resurrect Joachim, or Joachim, depending on how you want to say it. He mentioned that he killed Vic by attacking her from behind. Let's see, I had to click out of a window that popped up. Yeah. He mentioned that he killed Vic by attacking her from behind, but you never saw him move. This must mean that the knife that Randy has in his hand likely possesses some form of magic. Maybe the knife allows him to attack from a distance. Or to open a portal to stab enemies. I mean, that also is just attacking from a distance. Yeah, like, I was just coming up with different ways for attack from a distance. And life allows him to attack from a distance. If that's the case, then it isn't safe for him to have that knife, as he could use it to try and kill Lucy next. Maybe I can use my electromagnetic abilities to summon lightning in order to magnetically disarm Randy of his magic knife and use his knife against him. You begin to focus intently as you try to control the magnetic field around all objects. You feel the magnetic field of the knife in Randy's hand and begin to use your telekinetic abilities to pull it towards you. I wouldn't call them telekinetic. You could say it's telekinetic-like abilities. Because it's similar, like I get what it's getting at, but it's electromagnetic. It's not telekinetic. You think to yourself, it is working. I can feel the electromagnetic field of Randy's knife. Now, all I have to do is pull it into my hand using, well, I guess, by magnetically attracting it to a charge of electricity in my palm. I need to act fast before he can use his knife to hurt Lucy. You begin to feel the knife flying towards your hand, but Randy is struggling with you for control over the knife. You continue to pull it while not letting up the energy that you're directing at it. You think to yourself, what? see. Randy is able to fight back against the electromagnetic charges. Maybe Randy's knife isn't magic, but Randy... I mean, it's weird to say but Randy is... Like, of course Randy's magic, but I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe Randy's knife isn't enchanted at all. What if Randy is able to telekinetically manipulate his knife? That would explain how he could use his knife to kill Vic without moving. And also how he can resist having his knife snatched from him using electromagnetic fields. He must be able to throw his knife and then telekinetically call it back to himself. If I can create a strong enough attractive charge of electricity in my palm, I might be able to overpower Randy's telekinetic hold over his knife. Okay. We're kind of in like a magical tug of war, trying to like grab this knife. You continue to focus your mind on the knife, but Randy's concentration is equally as strong. He is desperately trying to get his knife back while you are attempting to get it into your possession. Okay. So I'm going to think to myself once again. Maybe I could use this to my advantage. Randy is pulling with all his might to keep me from getting his knife. This means that if I stop trying to grab the knife, well, I guess trying to pull the knife electromagnetically, suddenly he will pull his own knife towards himself with all of his force. Essentially, if I quickly and without warning stop trying to get the knife, Randy will accidentally stab himself with the knife. It's kind of like tug of war, where if two sides are like pulling equally and then one side lets go, the other side is likely to fall over because they're no longer counterbalanced by you like pulling. Let's see. You announce to Randy that you're going to stop pulling the knife towards you, and Randy is shocked and begins to try even harder to pull his knife towards him, but you stop your electromagnetic manipulation instantly. So I tell him I'm gonna stop pulling the knife. And then Randy's surprised and pulls even harder. That sounds dumb. Why would I announce that? So I'm going to get rid of the railroading thing where it says that I would announce, because that has no strategic value. I'm just going to have it say, like, it can still be like, Randy begins to try even harder to pull his knife towards him, but you stop your electromagnetic manipulation instantly. Like, that, I think, makes a lot more sense. Because if we're competing and we're like equally matched in terms of pulling, then I can see him be like, I'm gonna try even harder, and then I just like let go. I just instantly stop trying to like pull the knife towards me. I think that makes more sense than me telling him I'm gonna stop pulling the knife. Randy's knife is pulled in with all his force, but now he has no knife in hand to stab himself. What? It's pulled at him with all his force, but now it isn't there. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Let's see. Instead, he has his bare hand outstretched towards you. Randy's body is struck by his knife at a speed that pierces through his stomach and back. Oh, I get it. It's like he was pulling it with all his force, but now it's not even, like, it's not in his hand anymore. It's in, like, his body now? That's kind of weird. It's almost like the way that he was telekinetically pulling it to himself wasn't necessarily as his hand as the focus, is as his body as the focus, but with his hand being what's holding the knife. Also, it completely like impaled through him. It went through him so fast that it literally went through his stomach and out of his back. I'm gonna think to myself, the center of his telekinetic pull on the knife must have been his stomach. Well, I guess must have been his solar plexus. It's actually more likely. The solar plexus is commonly considered an energy center or chakra of the body. So it seems highly likely that he was using life energy in order to have telekinetic influence over the knife. When he pulled the knife telekinetically with all his might, with no resistance, the knife not only flew into his solar plexus, but straight through his body. I don't think I've ever seen someone impale themselves with a knife like that. Pretty crazy stuff. You walk slowly toward Randy's prone body. He coughs up blood and groans in utter pain. You crouch down alongside Randy's damaged body and say, I could have my revenge now, but I think I'll enjoy watching you suffer for a bit longer. I mean, that's rather cold. I honestly would have assumed that he was dead, but if he isn't, nah, I'm not gonna like crouch down and say some shit. Instead, I'm going to think to myself again. Randy is extremely dangerous. He can create cybernetics, manipulate his life energy, and even use necromancy. I can't let him live. Well, I mean, I can't let him just bleed out from his own injury. I mean, it's not that I can't let him. It's more, I need to kill him now. If I don't, he might try to use his life energy manipulation to heal himself, like what he did for Joachim. That, or he might have some cybernetics that he could use to heal himself. Or I guess to stabilize his condition, because I already said heal himself earlier. I can use my lightning manipulation to fry his body in an instant to prevent him from doing anything that could cause Lucy or I any more trouble. You fly downward to use your lightning manipulation powers to fry Randy's body. You hover above Randy and bring your hands down. Leaning over him, you begin to charge up your hands with pure electrical energy. So I fly downward, fly down toward the ground above Randy, and then bring my hands down, and then leaning over him while also flying, so more like floating over him. I charge up my hands with pure electrical energy. Okay? I'm going to change it from leaning to like flying, or maybe, yeah, I guess floating over him, because I've already said fly and hover within like the same like short paragraph, I guess. Okay. It is now or never. I need to completely fry him to make sure that he can't use any of his life energy to bounce back from this attack. You continue to charge up your hands. You bring your hands closer to his body. You smash your hands downward as a powerful green bolt of lightning shoots from each hand. Your hands smash into his chest and pass through it as if it was smoke. You cannot harm him. What? You think to yourself, Randy's body has now taken on some form of intangible defense? What year is Randy in school for him to know so many different types of spells? In his intangible form. There may not be anything that I can do to stop him. That being said, he is injured and likely much weaker than normal. I wonder if Lucy can use one of her portals to transport Randy to some hellish dimension while he's in this weakened state. You fly down to the ground and position yourself in between Randy and Lucy. You wonder what it would be like to be with her. You turn around to face Randy and begin to think of a plan. What? Why would I be... That just seems... I just thought of a plan. What? I'm going to retry that. That was just a weird way for it to go. You fly back over to Lucy in an instant. Lucy, Randy is now intangible and will be much weaker than normal, you shout while flying over to her. What? She says with a shocked face. I mean, she's here though. She's here the whole time. Let's see. You were surprised that Lucy seemed shocked. Or I mean, maybe she would be, because I would be the only one, I guess, who would have noticed the intangible thing. I don't know. Anyways, um, I asked Lucy if she can send the weakened Randy to a hellish dimension while he is in a weakened state and unable to resist. Do 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 do. You fly up to Lucy and quickly explain your plan. I mean, I'm already up to Lucy. I flew back over to Lucy like a moment ago. Maybe over to and up to are different. I don't know. Lucy thinks for a moment and then nods. I think that could work, she says. You tell her that you will deal with Vic while she prepares a spell to send Randy away. Okay, cool. You think to yourself, Vic died from a knife wound, implying that she likely died due to blood loss. She hasn't been dead for long. Yeah. Even if you could try to, I guess, resuscitate her, I definitely don't know how to spell that. Resuscitate? Too many S's, question mark? Nope, maybe the right number of S's, not enough C's. Nope. No, I just don't know how to spell resuscitate. It thinks I'm trying to say necessitate. Goodness. Okay. Even... Oh, sorry. I'm thinking, so I would say I. Even if I could shock her heart back to life, that wouldn't help with her lack of blood. Let's see. I could try to electromagnetically attract the iron in her blood. Well, I guess electromagnetically attract her blood back into her body, considering the fact that blood contains a large amount of iron. That being said, non-oxygenated blood wouldn't be very helpful. I could try to use my wind manipulation abilities to maybe force oxygen into her spilled blood, then use electromagnetism to pull, I keep putting electro, but not putting the R in for some reason, to pull the blood back into her body. Use a small spark of electricity to cauterize her wound. Let's see. Let's figure out how you spell cauterize. Oh, with a T, duh. To cauterize her wound. And then, with a pulse of electricity to her chest, kickstart her heart back. I think that might work. Okay. So let's try. We're going to try to bring Vic back. But it's going to take a lot. You begin setting up the plan. Use your ability to suck all of the air out from around her and her spilled blood, as well as the water in the plants next to her. The water and oxygen are drawn into streams towards Victoria's body. Okay. So I'm trying to oxygenate the blood with the air from the surrounding environment, and I guess with water from the plants. You then use your electromagnetism to shuffle the iron ions, which are found in large quantities inside of blood cells, around inside the blood. I mean, would be how I would be drawing the blood into her body or whatever. Like, it's trying to explain the things that I've already explained, which is interesting. I don't know how I feel about the description of how it's trying to explain it. This causes the iron-rich blood to become positively charged. The negatively charged oxygen and hydrogen items streams... So wait, hold up. The negatively charged oxygen and hydrogens streams surround the positive blood cells and are pulled back into Victoria's body. Okay. Let's keep it going. So earlier it said I was putting water and oxygen into her body, pulling air and water from the surrounding area into her, and then pulling the blood into her, I guess as a way to oxygenate the blood. Let's see. The water and oxygenated blood cells rush back into Victoria's body, where they begin to fill up and re-oxygenate her blood. Okay, so yeah, that is what the water and oxygen thing was for. With another small spark, you cauterize the wound in her chest. Okay, so far, I'm following. It followed my plan pretty well, to be honest. It added some extra steps that I didn't even think about, like trying to use water from the environment as a way to help oxygenate her blood. You wait for a few moments for Victoria to hear. Oh, wait. You wait for a few moments for Victoria's heart to begin beating again. Why would I wait for that? Like, it's just going to beat because there's blood back in her body? All I did was put blood back in. Let's see. After a short while, you shock her heart with one last pulse of electricity, kickstarting it back into a regular rhythm. Victoria wakes up and sits up, coughing up blood. What happened? Well, I guess I should do a Victoria voice. What happened? Asked Vic. I guess she's gonna sound like this now, because I didn't have a idea for her voice. Let's see. You explained to Vic that her boyfriend Randy caught you, Vic, and Lucy making out and decided to try and get revenge by resurrecting and upgrading Joachim. You inform Vic that you had to kill Joachim and Randy, and that Randy had killed Vic. You then explain how you used your powers to bring Vic back to life. Let's see. You tried to bring Victoria back to life, asked Ofda. I don't know how Ofda got here. Yes, I would do it a second time if I had to, you say. Lucy puts her hands on your arm. Wait, sorry. Lucy puts her hands on yours and smiles. You smile back at her. Okay. So I'm going to ask Ofda, what are you doing here? Weren't you at the mansion party? What brings you to Vic's place? Do 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 do. Been win. Do 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 do. Ofda. What an interesting name. Like, to expand Ofda further. Ofda. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna change it back to Ofda though. But I was worried about Vic. Ofda says. I thought maybe I could help her. As for the party, well, I would rather be here with my true love. You stare at Ofda and Vic. What? With his true love. Ofda's like, her boyfriend dead? Hey, ain't nothing but a thing. I heard she was single. I was already on my way. Do 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 do. You're surprised to hear Ofda declare love for Vic. Yeah. You wonder if Ofda could somehow detect that Vic was in danger. Or if he somehow knew that she was single. Either way, you're curious to see if Vic returns Ofda's affection. Do 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 do. Ofda, what do you mean? Vic asked. I'm here for you, and I would go to hell and back for you, Ofda says. Vic smiles. Thank you. You don't know how much that means to me. Okay, I guess Vic and Ofda is a thing. You're glad to see that Vic and Ofda are getting along well. You are somewhat surprised at how calm everyone is. Especially Vic. Vic and Randy were dating. And now... Oh, wait. Hold on, I said I killed Randy? Randy's not dead. And now, Randy is about to be sent to a hell dimension by Lucy. You ask Vic if she has any last words to say to Randy before he is sent to hell. Do 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 do. Whoa! You deserve this, Vic says. What? No, they weren't. What? But we were married. You loved me once. Vic looks down a bit. Oh, wait, sorry. Vic looks down and bit, and then back up at Randy. Down and bit? What does that mean? Vic looks down and then back up at Randy is probably what it meant to say. So I did, she says. She says that very coldly. Also, they were married at some point. We're in high school, so I guess that's not impossible. That's so weird. So they weren't just boyfriend and girlfriend. So Vic says you deserve this. Randy's going to dramatically reveal to the group that him and Vic were married. Then Vic looks down and then back up at Randy. And then says, so I did, but coldly. You had no idea that Vic and Randy were married. You just thought that Vic and Randy were dating. You knew that Vic wasn't big on human affection, but you had no idea how cold she could be. She did cheat on Randy after all, which is what started all this in the first place. That being said, you weren't innocent either. You weren't innocent either, as you were more than happy to make out with Vic and Lucy. As you watch Lucy cast Randy's body into the hell dimension, you think about how all of this could have been avoided, that all of this could have been avoided. Yeah, like, in the end, it's kind of like a sad situation. A lot of death. Do-do-do-do-do. And all over like a cheating thing. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. I just said something really weird that doesn't make any sense. So the game said, the end. It does kind of sound like how you would end a story. Let's not speak of this again, Vic says. I loved Randy once upon a time, but that was another life, long ago. I mean, I'm going to edit that to say, but now in my eyes, that was another life long ago. Like saying, like, to her, that's now, like, old stuff. Cool. So we got rid of Joachim, and we got rid of Vic. How are we doing on time? We still got an hour and 12 minutes left. Okay, cool. So let's see. So we're about to do a makeout session, but I imagine the mood for that has kind of been killed. Yeah, I guess that's what I would say. I'm going to say to Lucy, we were going to make out, but I imagine the mood for that has kind of died down. You mentioned to me earlier that you're a member of a club where you and your friends fight for fun. I would like to attend one of those club meetings and get to battle. I want to see what our classmates are capable of in combat. Randy was a surprisingly skilled foe, so I can only imagine what our other classmates can do. Do 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 do. A fight sounds good, Lucy says. I'm not sure what you're getting at, but I'll tag along, Ofda says. You ask Vic if she wants to tag along. and head to Lucy's Friend Fight Club to get in on some battles. Oh crap, I said is she instead of if she. I'm always down for a fight, Vic says. Cool, you say. Are we going to walk all the way over there? Ofda asks. You can if you want, but we're taking the tram there, you say. No, I'm not gonna say something about taking a tram. Let's see. You ask Lucy if she can create a portal to transport the group to her Friend Fight Club. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Of course, Lucy says. Lucy conjures a glowing blue portal, and you walk through it with your friends. You find yourself in a large warehouse, surrounded by people cheering for the fighters. I didn't know there would be an audience, you say. Okay. JudgeBot says, this is a reference to the movie Fight Club. You gain 1 point. So I'm going to pay attention to the fighters currently brawling in the arena. You're surprised by the underground nature of the fights, and you think that these battles might be gambled on. That would explain why the fights are in a warehouse rather than in a dojo. You want to get a feel for what powers and technology the two fighters are using in the current brawl. I can't wait to get started, Ofda says. As you watch the two competitors in the arena throw their punches, you notice that one of them is using some sort of metal glove. The other combatant's feet are replaced with rollerblades. You think to yourself, rollerblades? That doesn't seem useful. Rollerblades aren't particularly good for balance. And balance is key in any fight. I wonder if those rollerblades are actually rocket skates. You watch the two fighters duke it out, one using rocket skates for feet and the other using a powerful metal gauntlet. You continue to watch, thinking that the glove fighter will likely land a heavy hit soon. You are curious if the metal gauntlet is just tough and armored, or if it has some sort of special ability. You think that the fighter with rocket skates might be too fast for the fighter with the metal glove to handle. But you also think that the fighter with the metal glove only needs one good hit in order to win. Do 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 do. If the Metal Gauntlet does have a special ability, you're not sure what it might be. You continue watching the fight unfold, thinking that in order for Ofda to win, you might need to help her in some way. Congratulations, you're dead. The fuck? So those last two lines, excuse me, are kind of confusing. I'm going to edit out that like weird extra part and have it end at the part where it says you continue watching the fight unfold. Now let's hit enter and continue watching the fight unfold, just actually. Do 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 do. The glove fighter manages to maneuver so that the skater cannot get a solid hit in without falling over and potentially losing their balance. The glove fighter lands 2 punches on his opponent's face and knocks them out. The referee declares the fight over and begins talking about the winner. You listen closely to the referee. You want to learn the name of the glove fighter and learn what their glove can do. Yeah, I didn't really get to see what the glove's special ability was during the fight. It might just be a metal glove, like just a normal metal glove. The gloved fighter's name is revealed to be Haygarth, and his metal glove is an invention of his own creation. The metal gauntlet allows the wearer to greatly increase their strength for as long as they wear the gauntlet. Interesting, Ofda says. JudgeBot said, I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty cool. You gained 5 points. Hey, okay. Okay. You approach the referee and ask if you can face off against Hagar. Hagar's metal glove doesn't seem like it would be that good. Similar to what I did for Randy's knife, I could potentially use that on Hagar's glove. Well, that depends on Haygarth, the ref says. You look over at Haygarth and he looks back. You're the one I heard about. The storm that caught an airship. Let's do this, Haygarth says. You don't remember much about your past. You don't recall catching an airship at any point. But maybe you did and forgot about it. That or Haygarth is just confusing you for someone else. Regardless, you're excited to face off against Haygarth. You think that you should be able to disarm Haygarth of his metal glove. Well, actually, I could probably disable Haygarth's metal glove by using my electromagnetic manipulation to release an isolated EMP pulse, well, I guess EMP, around Haygarth's metal gauntlet. Once Haygarth's gauntlet is shut down, his strength will fall to normal human levels, in which case your storm abilities will be more than enough to take down Haygarth. Do 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 do. Pew. Ba-dum. Da-bow. Bam 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 bam. Do do do. Do do do. You approach Haygarth, and the pair of you touch gloves. The ref signals the beginning of the match. You begin hurling wind and rain charged fist at Haygarth's head. Hurling wind and rain charged fist? Is that like a projectile thing? Like shooting like essentially construct shaped like fist made out of wind and rain and I guess lightning at Haygarth? Or is it like there's essentially like storms whirling around my fist as I'm like hitting him? I mean, my whole body is a storm, so I guess any kind of punch would be a wind and rain charged fist. Let's see. I'm going to attempt to grab Haygarth's metal fist and short it out using a quick EMP. You attempt to grab Haygarth's mechanical hand. Unfortunately, Haygarth is ready for this and dodges your grab. Nice try, kid, Haygarth says. Haygarth begins throwing punches of his own. Okay, cool. I'm going to attempt to shift from solid form to gas form to phase through Haygarth's punches. Then phase to the other side of Haygarth. Re-solidify and try to EMP his glove while he's confused. Okay, so that's my plan. Bow, 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 A brilliant idea. You use your phasing ability to move through Haygarth's arm, passing through his metal arm and out the other side. Once you re-solidify, you're on the opposite side of Haygarth. Haygarth is confused and looks at his arm. You attempt to take the opportunity to quickly EMP Haygarth's metal glove in an attempt to disable it and depower Haygarth's strength. Ding, 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 ding. You quickly focus and release an electromagnetic pulse at Haygarth's metal gauntlet. Okay, ballin'. I'm going to say to Haygarth, I have disabled your metal glove, so your strength is now only at the level of an average human. I will give you the opportunity to give up now. If you refuse, then I'll have to knock you out. But I warn you, I won't hold back. Okay? So let's see how Haygarth reacts. Haygarth stares at you in disbelief and begins to stammer something, but you cut him off, asking if he gives up or not. Haygarth's voice begins to raise as he states, I'm not giving up, you little snot rag. I'll crush you. You stare at Haygarth in silence as he begins to move towards you. Well, bring it on then, son, I'll break every bone in your body. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to attempt to summon wind constructs shaped like fists and fire a barrage of them straight at Hagar. Let's see what he can do about that. Especially if he's just fighting at like normal human levels. You focus and summon a pair of wind constructs that fly straight at Hagarth's head. Hagarth easily manages to bat both of them away. Hagarth begins to advance towards you. He's a lot faster than you thought he'd be. You're impressed that even without his glove boosting him, that Hagarth is quite fast. Let's see. Hagarth's approaching me. You realize that your wind constructs aren't strong enough to really hinder Hagarth. I'll need something better than that. Okay. I'm going to attempt to summon a small whirlwind to pick up Hagarth and slam him down into the floor of the arena. You hope that your whirlwind attack can knock Hagarth unconscious. Thanks to a strong wind and the help of gravity. You summon a whirlwind and quickly it begins swirling about Hagarth. Hagarth appears frightened for the first time in the fight. He doesn't try to fight the whirlwind, but instead tries to maintain his balance. You bring your hand up to increase the speed of the whirlwind. You are impressed yet again by Hagarth. Unlike Hagarth's last opponent, Hagarth clearly understands how necessary balance is in a fight. As long as Hagarth can stay balanced, he can prevent himself from being launched and smashed into the floor. That being said, Hagarth now is working on normal human limits. As long as you can continue to increase the power of the whirlwind, it is only a matter of time before Hagarth will be uplifted and tossed back into the ground. And tossed brutally back into the ground. Okay. Let's see what you got, Hagarth. You continue to channel the power of the whirlwind. You have a burst of inspiration. You can try to summon more wind to surround Hagarth and his whirlwind attack with a barrier of wind so that he can't escape. Let's see. You can try to summon more wind to surround Hagarth and his whirlwind attack with a barrier of wind so that he can't escape. and his whirlwind attack? Like he's using his own whirlwind attack? You notice that Haygarth is spinning around in an attempt to create a counter whirlwind attack to fight off your whirlwind and counterattack you. This is laughable, as Haygarth couldn't possibly move at the necessary speed to do that without being insanely fast. You attempt to create, well, I mean, I guess it said I tried to summon a barrier of wind around him. So I'm going to say you now are trying to crush Haygarth by creating an ever-shrinking wind barrier around his body. You're creating a barrier of wind around Haygarth and his whirlwind. Haygarth realizes that he's being tricked and tries to move his whirlwind and escape your barrier of wind. Unfortunately, you anticipated this move. And unfortunately for Haygarth. You say to Haygarth, "It's too late. The barrier of wind is already closing around you. Right now, you're in the eye of the storm, safe and sound. But as the eye gets smaller and the walls of the barrier get closer, soon the winds will tear you apart." Excuse me. Haygarth seems to be a broken man right now. "Do you yield?" you ask Haygarth. You cannot hear what Haygarth says, but it looks like he's nodding his head yes. "All right then, I accept your surrender." You inform the referee that Haygarth has surrendered, and you release your wind barrier. The referee talks to Haygarth, and Haygarth responds with a nod of his head. The referee turns towards you and raises your hand. The crowd goes wild. The announcer says, "Our new champion." And then he likely would call me the wrong thing, because I didn't tell him what my name was. But Haygarth called me the Storm. He said the storm that caught the airship. The storm. Let's see. I'm going to shake Haygarth's hand and compliment him on his determination. You were amazed at how Haygarth continued to fight, even without the enhancement of his metal gauntlet. Yeah, because I mean, that is pretty courageous to fight someone who's a literal storm as just like a normal man, like not even with like super strength or anything. You and Hagarth exit the dueling arena. Hagar smiles at you and says, "You almost had me, kid." "I know," you say with a smile. You then rush off to find Lucy in the crowd so you can celebrate your hard fought victory together. Ballin'. Let's see. So I'm going to ask Lucy if she is going to battle next. Do 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 do. Let's see. You catch up with Lucy just in time for her to witness Ufuji lose his duel. I don't even know who Ufuji is. You say, "Hey, I'm glad I caught you before your match. I just want to wish you luck." Lucy smiles and gives you a peck on the cheek. Okay. Ballin'. You smile back and watch as Lucy enters the arena. Lucy will be fighting the person who just beat Ufuji. You look at Ufuji, and he appears to be in bad shape. Whoever Lucy is about to fight is absolutely merciless. Do 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 do. Ufuji already fought and lost. So let me retry, because the announcer was like, "Next up, Ufuji." So I hit retry. Lucy walks into the arena as the crowd cheers her on. She looks nervous. Suddenly, Ufuji drops to his knees and vomited. He then collapses onto the floor. From off camera, a voice shouts. I'm going to get rid of the from off camera voice shouts. Let's see. Goodness. So Ufuji got fucked up. Like, seriously, whoever beat up Ufuji, like, really beat him up. You notice how bad, yeah. You look at Ufuji, and he looks like he's in terrible shape after his battle. You look into the arena and smile at Lucy. You believe in Lucy, and you know that she'll do her best. You're still curious, though, who she's fighting and what her opponent did to make Ufuji I guess make Ufuji go so hard down. Like, I don't know. You're still curious, though, who her opponent is and what exactly they did to Ufuji. Do 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 do. Also, that should be UR, not like YOUR. I mean, sorry, YOURE. Like, it should be like the contraction, your. Anyways, you see a man who appears to be in his early 20s standing opposite of Lucy in the arena. He's wearing golden armor that covers his chest, arms, and legs. He wields a large sword with a golden blade. Hmm. You think that this fighter is the most armored fighter you've seen here all day. You wonder if Lucy's opponent is using equipment similar to what Haygarth used that boost the wearer's stats. If one glove could make Haygarth incredibly strong, then then I guess the question would be, then how strong would Lucy's opponent be if every piece of his armor granted him a similar boost? The announcer yells, "The following is a one-on-one battle to the death. This battle is between Lord Carwindel and Lucy Fireborn." You watch as Lord Carwindel and Lucy enter. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I can't talk. My eyes keep getting ahead of my mouth. You watch as Lord Carwindel and Lucy circle each other. You think to yourself, a battle to the death? I wasn't in a... Yeah, this is the first death battle I've seen here. Why did Lucy's battle have to be a death battle? Maybe it is because she comes here often, and the best fighters compete in death matches. If that's the case, then that means Lucy must be one of the top fighters here. I still have no idea what Lord Carwindel is capable of. Okay. So let's see how this battle's gonna go down. You watch as Carwindel swings his sword at Lucy, who narrowly dodges the swing. She then strikes at his shin, but the armor absorbs the blow. Carwindel swings again, and this time hits her shoulder, cutting through the armor and into her flesh. You were surprised that Lucy didn't use a portal to try and stop or catch Carwindel's blade. Excuse me. You wonder how Lucy uses her portal abilities in combat. Portals are incredibly versatile when used in battle. So you're sure that Lucy likely has a plan up her sleeve for how to finish off Carwindel. This is actually pretty interesting. So Lucy's already kind of at a disadvantage because Lord Carwindel's blade is just in her shoulder now. Like, what is she going to do? And it pierced her armor on the first hit. Lucy pulls her arm out of the shoulder pad, revealing a bleeding but not life-threatening slash. She then shoots an electrified portal at Carwindel's feet, causing him to be unable to move. An electrified portal? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. You're surprised that Lucy can infuse her portals with elements, granting them elemental properties. The portal she created is using static cling in order to bind Carwindell's feet to the ground. You imagine that now Lucy could set the portal to any location she'd want and due to Carwindell being stuck to the portal, he would automatically fall through and travel wherever the portal took him. That actually is like a really interesting concept. The idea of having portals that don't immediately take you anywhere. Whoa! Carwindell breaks free of the portal's binding and throws his sword, cutting into Lucy's stomach. He then grabs her by the neck with both hands and begins to squeeze. Since you can't help in this battle, you decide to watch some more. Oh, what an interesting way to describe it. The fact that I can't help. You're surprised at how easily Carwindell was able to escape Lucy's portal trap. You suppose that the static cling applied to the portal wasn't particularly strong, since Lucy doesn't specialize in electromagnetic magic like you do. You wonder how Lucy is going to escape being strangled to death. You cheer on Lucy and shout words of encouragement. Okay. And that's kind of the best I can do. I thought her portal trap thing was actually really interesting, but yeah, Carwindell essentially just no-diff the shit out of that. Oh gosh. You watch as the color drains from Lucy's face as Carwindell continues to strangle the life out of her. You shout for him to stop, that you'll give himself up. Carwindell releases his grip and tosses Lucy to the ground like a rag doll. Wait. Hold up, what? I think I understand what's happening. You shout for him to stop and say that you'll fight him instead. Alright. So, Lucy got bitched, and it seems like it's my time to represent and fight. You're surprised that Lucy went down so hard. She's an experienced fighter, but her static cling portal trap just wasn't enough to hold Carwindell at bay. She likely had never fought an opponent that was strong enough to resist the electromagnetic attraction of her portal. And she likely depended on that trap working in order to take down most of her opponents. You step into the ring as the medics carry Lucy to the infirmary. You stare Carwindel in the eye and ask him what his abilities are. Okay. Do do do. Do 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 do. I'm a German berserker, he says. A berserker, huh? Explains the temper, you reply. The two of you begin to circle around each other. You think to yourself, I've heard of berserkers before. I once read a book on real-life werewolves, and it talked about how there were many myths concerning werewolves in the past that were really about berserker warriors. Berserkers are able to get themselves in a mental state where they become unstoppable killing machines. Berserkers can fight through pain and push beyond normal human limits. You now understand how he was able to escape Lucy's static cling portal trap. It was due to his sheer willpower and brute strength. So that's pretty interesting. You begin to think over your options. You know, of course, that your combat abilities are mostly psychic in nature, but you doubt your mind is strong enough to stand against a berserker in a straight-up fight. Interesting. So the game straight up like, your abilities probably aren't going to be enough to hold up against a berserker. Let's do this, yells Carwindel in a determined and angry voice. You think to yourself, berserkers fight with a level of animalistic rage. They don't really think, they just act. If he can get his hands on me, he'll likely beat me to a pulp. Luckily, I can manipulate electricity and use that to amplify my movement. Yeah, I think I'm thinking of an idea. If I race around Carwindel, then maybe I can generate a cage of lightning around his body. That way, if he tries to grab for me, he'll electrocute himself. This should work, as Carwindel in a berserker rage, won't have the ability to reason that he shouldn't grab the lightning cage. Okay. You make a run for it with Corwindel in pursuit. I wasn't done with you yet, he yells. You begin to weave back and forth on the metal walkway in an attempt to throw off his grab. So I'm juking him. Let's see. I'm going to attempt to leave a trail of lightning behind me as I run to try and get Corwindel to race into the lightning trail and damage himself. Also, the arena is a metal walkway. You race forward and begin to think about all the electricity in the area. You begin to feel electrons move towards you and begin to gather at your fingertips. Let's see. I'm not going to say I don't want to hurt you, just get out of my way. This is a death match. Okay. You continue to gather electrons into lightning bolts and stream them from your hands as you try and dodge Corwindel's attacks. Yeah, if I can essentially create like free-floating electric fences, I should be able to shock him. You create a small lightning bolt in your right hand and release it directly into the air in Corwindel's direction. The bolt arcs harmlessly into the ground. Fool, don't you know that won't work on me? Bellows Corwindel. You think that the metal walkway is attracting the lightning away from Corwindel and into itself. You think you can use this to your advantage. You attempt to electrify the entire walkway in order to electrocute Corwindel. You are a storm cloud, so you'll be fine. But Corwindel is a human and would likely be fried alive, berserker or not. You thrust the entirety of your energy into electrocuting the walkway. Corwindel begins to glow, and his body spasms as he's electrocuted mercilessly. No! I am Corwindel, chosen of Joachim. You cannot defeat me. Oh, he's related to Joachim. You smirk and say, I killed Joachim. Twice. So he's one of the cultists of Joachim. Corwindel falls to the ground as his body continues to spasm. Oh, get you, fool, he says, and then goes still. You check for a pulse, just to be sure. When you don't find one, you begin to laugh. Goodness, the game is like, you're just a dick. You're just going hard on it. And when you don't find one, I'm going to inform the ref. Excuse me. Do-ding-ding-ding. Do-ding-ding-ding. Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding. He's dead. Good. I guess that means you win, says the referee. The crowd begins to boo loudly. That was a dirty trick. We wanted to see him get his revenge, one of them yells. You realize that some of the crowd members are cultists of Joachim. You say to the crowd, you wanted to see him avenge your fallen god? Sorry, but that isn't happening today. I have killed Joachim twice this week. I can take down any of his followers. I am a god, and I am definitely a more powerful god than Joachim. Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding. The crowd becomes angry, and a few of them begin to yell slurs at you. Blasphemy, yells one. You suck, yells another. You'll pay for your crimes, yells a third. You say to the crowd, you all sound pretty tough, sitting in your arena seats. Would any of you like to join me in the arena? How about you come and avenge your god? Send your strongest. Let's just hope they are better than Joachim and Corindel combined. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do ding 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 do 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 ding 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 do 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 do. The crowd continues to jeeringly yell insults at you. One who appears to be their leader stands up and yells, "We don't need to waste our time with you when we can just send you away in pieces." The crowd cheers at the statement. You smirk and say, "Send me away in pieces? How about you come into the arena and say that to my face?" Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding. Ding 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 ding. Fine, he says, and jumps through the hole in the glass made by Corindel. There's glass around the arena. The crowd goes silent as they see this man standing before you both. He is wearing a dark hooded robe, almost blindsiding him to look like a shadow. Almost blindsiding him? How about almost blending him into the darkness to look like a shadow? You ask the leader of the cultists if he possesses any abilities. We are all priests in the service of Joachim the patient. We all possess minor abilities, but I am the only one with enough faith to withstand your own powers. He says this last part while staring directly into your eyes. I ask him his name, I like his style. I am Isaac, and I am the new high priest of Joachim. Let's see. It said something about reading his mind, but I don't have the power to read minds. I mean, I could try and do some weird electromagnetic bullshit, like how Amphibian does in Ben 10 Ultimate Alien. But I'm not trying to do that right now. I'm going to say to Isaac, I don't care what faith you have in Joachim. Excuse me. I have faith in my divine nature, and that faith manifests itself in my divine soul. You can try and fight me if you desire, but my divine light will snuff out any pathetic excuse for a shadow, like yourself. Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding. Isaac begins to laugh and says, "We'll see about that." He makes a quick hand gesture, and you feel your body grow heavy. Your attempts to move are met with resistance, as if you are being held down by an invisible giant. You think to yourself, hand sign magic. He's likely using mudras. It seems like the effects of his magic involve manipulating the pull of gravity. Let's see. He thinks he's holding me in place. But what he doesn't understand is that I can shift between being a solid and a gas. I could easily, at any time, disperse into a gas and freely move with ease, even in heightened gravity. Not to mention, the arena floor is still metal, meaning that I can still electrocute Isaac at any time. Earlier, it says something about him jumps through the glass, the hole in the glass that was made by a car window. You should just say that he like jumps into the arena. Fine, he says, and jumps into the arena. Because I don't know any hole in the glass that car window would have made. You choose not to attack, though, and remain still as you think about how to proceed with this battle. Isaac says, I see you're choosing to not cooperate, and that's okay. Joachim's will be done, with or without your help. I'm going to reply, cooperate? I would never cooperate with Joachim. He was going to destroy Cell City. This city was going to die at the hands of your supposed god. and yet you still worship him. I have no pity for you or your soul. Now, what other powers do you possess? For your control over gravity means nothing to me. Isaac is silent for a moment before saying, "If you think my powers are impressive, you haven't seen anything yet. Joachim will show you his power when he appears." You reply, "Are you waiting for Joachim to finish me off? Is your power literally to just hold Joachim's enemies at bay until he can come save you?" If that's the case, then you'll die before he shows up. Joachim is already dead. I literally killed him today. And that's the second time I've killed him this week. Isaac is silent. You're about to continue your rant before he interrupts you. "I think it is time you learn my other power." He puts his hands together in a praying motion and begins to chant. You feel yourself being pulled towards him, unable to resist his gravitational pull. You aren't worried. Even if Isaac can draw you closer, that only helps you. If he draws you too close, you can easily become a gas and flash freeze him. Regardless of where he is in the arena, as long as he is touching the metal floor, you can electrocute him at any time. You aren't worried, but you are curious what his plan is. You see the floor beginning to bend towards you as it changes from metal to liquid. It won't be long before gravity pulls you into a puddle, so you decide to act. I see. You realize that Isaac's ability involves not only manipulating gravity, but transforming the ground into a form of quicksand. Isaac can stand on his own quicksand just fine. But those who he increases the gravity of are forced to sink down into it. Yeah, this doesn't seem good. You think that you can force Isaac to lose concentration and dispel his spell by hitting him with a powerful force of wind. Okay. So I'm going to try and shoot like a strong gust of wind at Isaac. to see if I can maybe knock him off his feet and make him break his spell. You begin pumping as much air as you can into your lungs and focus it towards your voice box. Your cheeks begin to bulge outward, and eventually your skin can't contain the pressure any longer, and your skin rips open. What do you mean? Why would I do that? I'm a storm being. Like, I can just manipulate wind. Just have me shoot wind. You begin spinning quickly and manage to avoid the quicksand as it takes on a concave shape. Several bolts of lightning come down from above, but Isaac manages to block them with a small shield. The sand taking on a concave shape is interesting. Like, instead of sinking down into the sand, essentially what happens is I just, like, displace the sand. Not necessarily what I was going for, but that did work out in my favor. Let's see. You think that if you spin fast enough, you can actually pick up the sand as a twister and hurl it at Isaac as an attack. Isaac's small shield won't be able to block multiple pounds of quicksand. You begin to feel some strain as small drops of sweat drip down your face. You're moving so fast that the wind whistles and the sand begins to take on the shape of a twister, picking up even more sand as it goes. Okay. You know that you are reaching your limits in terms of stamina. You have fought multiple people today, back to back. You need to finish this fight as soon as possible by dropping the pounds of quicksand you picked up with your twister right on Isaac's head. You quickly channel all of your remaining energy into hurling the twister of sand at Isaac, but you quickly learn that this is a horrible mistake, as you're left completely defenseless and begin to sink into the ground. Haha, you fool! Laughs Isaac. And then I'm going to say, you're the fool here. I may be out of energy and sinking into the sand, but the sand I threw at you is about to fall on your head, and when it does, all the sand you've summoned will disappear due to you losing concentration and being forced to dispel it. You may have overspoken because that last boast was very bold. However, one thing you've been proud of about yourself is your ability to make good judgments. Nice try, says Isaac, but that won't happen. You watch in anticipation. You are curious how Isaac plans to avoid the pounds of sand that are currently falling from the heavens directly at his head. While you watch, you focus on trying to recharge some of your energy through breathing exercises and visualization techniques. Oh, we're at 0 seconds? When did we hit the end of the 2 hours? Okay, so we must have just hit the 2 hours. You watch as the sand falls from the sky above Isaac. He's completely exposed and has nowhere to run or hide. You think this might actually be it. Isaac has been arrogant up until now, and it looks like he finally bit off more than he could chew. Well, it looks like we hit the 2 hour mark. What do you guys think of this video? This definitely was very actiony. I mean, we went from fight to fight to fight. What did you guys think of the beginning story about Randy and Joachim Plus in that battle? What did you think about the whole friend fight club and the different fighters that we encountered, like Hogarth? Definitely let me know in the comment section below and on our Discord. If you guys would like videos of your own made, feel free to hit me up on Discord. If I like your video idea, then I'll charge you $7 per hour length of the video, $7 for 1 hour, $14 for 2 hours, $21 for 3 hours, etc. Also, if you guys want to donate to the channel to help support us, feel free to hit up our Cash App in the description box below. Thank you all once again for watching. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black the One Only. Logging out. Peace, guys. Chicken about.